Let me first give, people talk about the issue of whether torture works in getting people to talk. And that's almost an academic argument. I'm sure that sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. But you really want people to cooperate because they have some reason to cooperate, not just the aversion to physical pain or fear. When a person is first captured, they're frightened. And particularly, we found in Iraq or Afghanistan, they're disoriented. And you do want to use that. You don't want them to feel particularly comfortable or sure about their future. At the same time, you do want them to come to a conclusion that they want to provide information. The individual who ultimately helped us locate the spiritual advisor for Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, it took weeks of us talking to him, day after day after day. But we were working on his sense of his family. We were working on his shame at being a part of something that was as destructive as Al-Qaeda in Iraq, killing so many innocent Iraqis. We were working on a lot of emotions, but we weren't threatening him or abusing him. And I'm very convinced that that was the right mode. Because once you get somebody to cooperate for the reason that they think is good, that's important. But why don't you torture if it does work? It's because it works two ways. It works on the torturer. First, I think it corrodes an individual's sense of values. Whether or not you believe that the ends justifies the means, once you cross a line to torturing unarmed detainees, it's difficult to see yourself as morally right. It is difficult to hold yourself to the set of values that you have to have. And so it starts to corrode individuals. I also think it starts to corrode the force. The force starts to believe that certain things are okay. Now, understand, there's a great pressure on forces pulling you toward both killing people and potentially mistreating detainees. It's easy for us to sit in Washington, D.C. and say we'd never do that. But when you are covered in blood, when you go into torture chambers and see what some of these guys have done to each other and to captives, when you see your partners who have sometimes been tortured and executed, it is harder to stay away from that pull. So let's make sure we're not too theoretical about this. But you have to, because it corrodes the force.